Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know that the greatest dramas often unfolded after the final chapter. The war was won, but what was the true cost? How do the survivors, the brilliant, the broken, and the morally exiled, find a path forward? Today, we are diving into one of the most celebrated, emotionally intense, and brilliantly written pieces of fanfiction in the entire fandom. Alchemised by the masterful author, SenLinYu. This is a post-war narrative that takes the controversial enemies-to-lovers pairing of Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy and elevates it into a profound psychological thriller and a study of moral complexity. It uses the ancient art of alchemy not just as a magical subject, but as the central, resonant metaphor for healing, redemption, and the transformation of a broken soul. If you've ever wanted a mature, dark, and deeply insightful look at how these two very different, yet equally brilliant, characters grapple with genuine trauma and the moral gray areas of adult life, then you've come to the right place. Before we enter the shadows of the post-war ministry, make sure to hit that like button if you love a story that digs deep into character psychology. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on the power of fanfiction, and subscribe so you never miss our deep dives into the narratives that challenge and redefine the stories we thought we knew. Your engagement helps us bring these compelling, insightful summaries to a wider audience. The world of Alchemised is set several years after the Battle of Hogwarts, and the novel wastes no time in shattering the illusion of a clean, happy ending. This is a wizarding world burdened by deep emotional scars, complicated political maneuverings, and the heavy shadow of survivors' guilt. The narrative is defined by its commitment to moral grayness. We find Hermione Granger deeply isolated, channeling her immense intellect and survivors' guilt into her work. She is now a powerful official in the Department of Mysteries, specifically stationed near the chilling room containing the veil. Hermione's hyper-focused, relentless work ethic is her coping mechanism. She is driven to find magical solutions to the permanent damage left by the war, often wrestling with the ethical tightrope walk of using powerful, sensitive magic for justice. Her brilliance is intact, but she is emotionally brittle, her perfectionism masking profound, unhealed trauma. In stark contrast, Draco Malfoy is living a life of self-imposed exile and penance. He retains his complex, tenuous pardon, but is utterly burdened by the Malfoy name and the dark mark. He has retreated into seclusion, dedicating his genius to the esoteric, secretive craft of alchemy. For Draco, this work is a literal, desperate attempt to create something good from the base elements of his tainted heritage. He is trying to transmute his guilt and past failures into a pure, valuable creation. He is a genius hermit, broken and defined by the choices he was forced to make during the war. The inciting incident that forces their collision is a matter of absolute necessity. Hermione's crucial ministry project, one with massive, sensitive implications, hits a wall. She needs a rare, specialized, and highly volatile alchemical component that only one person in Britain is likely capable of producing with the necessary power and precision: Draco Malfoy. Hermione must compromise her moral absolutes and collaborate with the very symbol of the darkness she dedicated her life to fighting. The project itself becomes the catalyst for their unwilling proximity. The true genius of Alchemised lies in how it uses the ancient process of alchemy as the ultimate metaphor for the healing of the soul. In the physical world, alchemy involves intense, sustained heat and pressure to achieve transmutation, turning a base metal into gold. The novel argues that the same process applies to the human spirit. Hermione and Draco are the base metals, the traumatized war hero and the morally compromised villain, who, through their intense friction and forced proximity, begin to transmute their individual pain into something shared and mutually restorative. Their relationship starts cold, defined by hostility and intellectual sparring. They are brilliant rivals who know exactly how to push each other's buttons, but their intense collaboration forces an intimacy that chips away at their carefully constructed defenses. Shared scars. They become the only two people who truly understand the depth of the trauma the other carries. Hermione sees the constant, corrosive self-loathing that drives Draco's isolation and his desperate desire for atonement. Draco sees the self-destructive, unforgiving perfectionism that consumes Hermione, recognizing her work ethic as a mask for survivor's guilt. Intellectual equality. Their shared brilliance is their first true bond. They challenge, provoke, and rely on each other's minds in a way that none of their old friends can. This intellectual sanctuary becomes the foundation for their emotional connection, a place where they can speak honestly about complex ideas without judgment. Redemption through seeing. Draco's redemption isn't a magical gift. It's earned through Hermione's act of seeing him. She is the first person who looks beyond the dark mark and sees the pure moral drive behind his alchemical work. He, in turn, sees the vulnerability beneath her shield of excellence. This shared mutual understanding grows into a profound, desperate love, a love built around their brokenness, not despite it. It is a slow, difficult burn that feels utterly earned. Their dynamic speaks to a universal truth. Sometimes, the person who understands your darkness the best is the person you least expect. Alchemised rises above standard fan fiction by its unflinching exploration of post-war political and moral corruption. The narrative challenges Hermione's long-held moral absolutes. The complicity of power, the Ministry, in its quest for stability and control, is revealed to be deeply flawed and morally compromised. The project Hermione and Draco work on is highly ambiguous. It's driven by noble ends, but requires means that skirt the edges of dark magic and ethical manipulation. This forces Hermione into a crisis of faith. She has to accept that even the good side is capable of sacrificing ethics when motivated by necessity. Draco's purposeful penance. Draco's arc is centered on the difficult work of redemption. His loyalty has been completely alchemized from the Malfoy name and ideology to a commitment to the work and to Hermione. He utilizes his dark knowledge, his specialized insight into forbidden practices, not for power, but to protect Hermione and to ensure the ethical completion of their project. He becomes the moral compass in the shadows, while Hermione struggles with the bureaucracy in the light. The relationship as sanctuary. Their intense collaboration shields them from the corrupting forces of the outside world. Their shared lab becomes a moral sanctuary, a private space where they can be truthful and morally sound, even as the larger world demands expediency and moral compromise. They are fighting the darkness outside, but more importantly, they are fighting the darkness within the system and within themselves, united by their dedication to a shared moral outcome. The escalation. The climax is typically triggered by external forces, Ministry officials trying to seize control of their volatile creation, or the inherent instability of the powerful magic they are manipulating. The project itself demands immense personal sacrifices, forcing them to risk their professional lives, their futures, and their freedom. Love as protection and sacrifice. In these final moments, their relationship is tested under extreme heat. The power of their bond is proven through an act of selfless protection. Draco utilizes his specialized dark knowledge to shield Hermione from threats she doesn't perceive, accepting the moral cost so she doesn't have to. Hermione, in turn, risks everything, her career, her reputation, and her life, to ensure his safety and his continued purpose. The true ending. Alchemised delivers a thematic resolution that transcends simple romance. The ultimate transmutation is not just the success of the magical project, but the completion of the character's healing. They don't find a perfect, easy life, but they find a whole one. Hermione accepts her flawed humanity and the redemption of others. Draco accepts that he is worthy of a future, his guilt transformed into purpose. They have alchemized their individual pain and isolation into a shared, enduring foundation, a bond that is strong precisely because it was forged under such immense pressure. The final feeling is one of hope, earned through struggle and truth. Alchemist is a triumph because it treats its characters with the maturity they deserve. It's an intelligent, dark, and essential read that explores complex themes: the corrosive nature of trauma, the possibility of redemption, and the idea that true connection is built on seeing and accepting another person's complete, messy reality. It argues that love is not a magical fix, but a difficult, continuous act of choosing to heal together. If this video inspired you to dive into this complex and compelling story, please hit that like button right now. Comment below with the phrase "alchemized" if you agree that the most profound transformations come from the deepest struggles. And of course, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the narratives that challenge our expectations and celebrate the enduring power of human connection. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most base elements can create the truest gold. We'll see you in the next video.